Dana White famously said that women would never be in the UFC.
When are we going to see women in the UFC, man?
Never.
Anytime soon? Never?
Never.
Are you guys eating your words a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously Dana, at the time, that's what his feelings were, and we had a lot of internal debate, and we decided to go ahead and bring women into the sport. And I can tell you one of the things we did as a company is we embraced it 1,000%. We never at any time treated women any differently than we treated the men. We had Ronda.
Once you let them in.
Once we let them in, yes. Right now, the women's 135-pound division, where Holly Holm is a champion, is our hottest division. I mean, that's what people want to see. We're kind of paving the way and taking the leadership role for women in sports.
Now, did the appetite for female fighting, did it surprise you?
Well, not as much, not once we started to see the level of talent that was emerging. I think going back and looking at Dana's original comments, I think it was at a time when there just wasn't that many competitors, and where you did have competitors, you had a big discrepancy between their talent level. Now that the sport has evolved in women's MMA, and you have enough competitors, we can have a real division, and you can really build something off that. Certainly we embraced women in MMA, or women in sport, like no other organization ever has. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, you know, would our most popular athlete on the roster be a woman, I would have probably said no. But as we sit here today and you think about who Ronda is, what she represents, her competitive spirit, her personality, and you look back at that and you say, well, it's really not surprising.
What does it mean for the brand that she lost this last match?
You know what? That is a perfect example of why the brand is so important and why the brand is as strong as it is because, yes, Ronda is a huge superstar and will continue to be, but all of a sudden now you have Holly Holm, that because she fought under the UFC banner and she beat Ronda Rousey, she has become an international star overnight.
It's been estimated that Ronda made around like $5-6 million for that fight, whereas Holm made apparently like $300,000. What about that discrepancy there? Do you think that's fair?
Well, look, at the end of the day, it's an open market, and there's various options for these athletes to be able to go compete in different organizations. Holly actually, going forward, has a contract. Well, she now will also be a participant in the back end on the pay-per-view as well. And I can tell you that what Holly was paid for the last fight was more than that, but the reality is more than she ever made in her entire career as a boxer. And we have really embraced the fact that we don't treat fighter pay any different whether you're a male or a female. If you're bringing customers, if you're bringing pay-per-views or selling tickets, you get paid just like the males do. And I think that's something that's really different from other sports.
Right, and are we going to see a rematch between Ronda Rousey and Holm?
I certainly hope so.
I think everyone's hoping
I think
for
everybody
it.
wants to see it, and the fact of the matter is the timing works out pretty good for Ronda. She had made some commitments. She'll get back into training, and we're thinking that July is a good date. We're obviously talking to Holly Holm, hoping that works for her too, because I think, you know, one of the things that's made us successful as a company is we try to put on the fights that the people want to see.
Right.
Make the best fight the best, and that certainly is the case in that scenario.